diacritic marks. I couldn't have time to search one mark. Sakrasya jak prabhalim sasam Govardhano me
Sakrasya jak prabhalim sasam Govardhano me
May Govardhan Hill, which by Krishna's mercy became the king of all mountains and received the respectful tribute of its arch enemy Indra, fulfill my desire. Who'd like to press the button? Button presses? Far right. Either one. Sapreshta hastam puja okumaya Sukhanubhuta atibhumi vite
Sukhanubhuta atibhumi vite
Mahendra Vajra Hatim Apyajannam Govardhano me Ichitang Abhishtam
Mahendra Vajra Govardhano
As it was held above the earth, it became so filled with happiness. I experienced in the softness of its beloved Krishna's lotus hand. It did not even know it was being struck by Indra's thunderbolt. May Govardhan Hill fulfill my desire. Yatraiva Krishna Vishabhanu Putriya Dhanam Vihitam Kalaham Vihene
Yatraiva Krishna Vishabhanu Putriya Dhanam Vihitam Kalaham Vihene
Shrute Srihaya Taramahatakshi Govardhano me Ichitang Abhishtam
Shrute Srihaya Taramahatakshi Govardhano me Ichitang Abhishtam.
Trying to catch a soul, Krishna quarreled there with King Vrishabhanu's daughter. The personified Vedas yearn to listen to that quarrel. May Govardhan Hill, may Govardhan fulfill my desire. Natva sarakvasu samira hasti Yatraivani padi paragoduri
Sarvadaratma Sukamirahasti Yatrevani Paragaduri
Alorayan Sehati Sarukasti Govardhano me Ishtatama Vishtam
Alolayan Charukasti Govardhano me Vishama Visham.
Bathing in a nearby lake, the elephant took a pleasant breeze, covered with pollen of gamba and other flowers, gracefully played there. May Govardhan Hill fulfill my desire. Saturika Saritam Kingatriti Oham Prabho Satyam
Saturika Saritam Kingatriti Oham Prabho Satyam
Naishadika Siha Silaka Gandhar Govardhano me Ichitang Abhishtam
Naisargika Sriya Srila Sugandhar Govardhano Vishamabhisham.
Does the sweet fragrance of Govardhan come from the musk here to relax there? From the Lord who plays there? Or is it Govardhan's own natural strength? May Govardhan help fulfill my desire. Vamsapati Dvanandusaravatma Idvikshavoyatra Haring Harinyana
Vamsaprati Dvaniyatu Sarvatma Vidikshavoyatra Hariniranya
Yanchoga Bhante Haririshita Govardhano Vishanama Vishtam
Yancholavante Vivinkitasa Govardhano Vishamabhisham.
Searching there for Lord Hari on a path that is flute music. The astonished deer do not find him. May Govardhan Hill fulfill my desire. Yatraiva Gangam Ananavihadam Aroya Madhire Sunimagyanova
Yatraiva Gandhan Naviradham Aroya Madhye Tungagnanoka
Krishna Vigata Govardhano me Siddhamavishtam
Krishna Viradhan Narobhaputra Govardhano Vishamabhisham.
As the divine couple traveled on the Ganges, there the boat began to sink in the middle. Krishna was splendidly handsome as Radha clung to his neck. And Govardhan Hill fulfill my desire. Instead of the Ganges, we're talking of Manasivanga. The same as the Ganges, not that they went all the way to the Ganges River. The Ganges came to them. Dina Bhavetim Haridakya Varna Parasayam Bhakti-ratasayam
Dina Bhaveti Haridasa Varya Padasayam Bhakti Rasasayami
Yange Vasam Yange Vasa Prema Nije Sayokti Govardhano Me Ishitanga Vishtam
Yame Vasape Vidasayore Govardhano Vishamabhisham.
Without taking shelter of the feet of the hill, that is the best of Lord Hari's servants, and full of love for the divine king and queen. How is it possible to attain pure devotional service? May Govardhan Hill fulfill my desire. Etattatejo haridasa varya mahanubhava sasamadadeta
Etatpateyo Haridasa Varya Mahanubhavata Tamadaseta
Viradika Madhavayopadamja Datam Savinde Shirena Satsat
Shriradhika Madhavayo Bhavya Datam Savinde Ashirena Satya.
May the reader of these 8 verses glorifying Lord Hari's greatest servant, his heart melting with pure love, quickly attain direct service to the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Madhava at once. Anyone, just press the button. Not there to slice it. Govardhano me Dhamma
Govardhano me Dhamma Vishnu.
Govardhano me Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan,
Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Giriraj Maharaj, Giriraj Maharaj, Giriraj Maharaj, Jaya Giriraj Maharaj. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Shila Prabhupada.
Ashtotasana Saresu Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Prabhupada Ki Shri Gonitai Ki Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ki Shri Radha Haris Ishwara Ki Shri Govardhana Puja Ki Shri Govardhana Ashtakam Ki Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Shri Govardhana Ki Ora Premanandi, glorious to the assembled devotees, Shri Guru Garanga, glorious to Shri Prabhupada, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinai, Namaste Saraswate Devi, Gauravani Pratari, Namaste Shatari. Who is our Master of Ceremonies? Maybe you can put this verse on the board. I've chosen a verse from the 10th canto, chapter 21, text number 18. You're going to put it on here. Right?
So I'll remove this.
Okay. We need to get the other verse up on the board. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
I always work on PowerPoint when I put things on the screen. No, this one here. 10, 21, 18. 10, 21, 18. Go to database. Just go to database. Because you're on the program. What is it? 10, 21?
18.
Chapter 18.
20.
18. Is it on the screen?
Yes.
No, keep the size one. Big size. Is it on the screen?
Yes.
So kindly repeat. Antaya, Adrir, Abala, Haridasavaryo, Yad Ramakrishna, Charana, Varsha, Pramodaha, Manoti, Saha, Goganayo, Tayat, Paniya, Suyabasa, Kandara, Kandamulai, Antavya Dvirabala Haridasya Varyo, Yad Ramakrishna Charana Sparasha Pramodaha, Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayastayoryat, Kaniya Suyavasa Kundara Kandamulai. Because of the extent of the subject matter, I'm going to move on. Today we're having two classes, one now and one sometime later, I'm not sure what time, 1 o'clock or something. So this morning, actually today is the day of Govardhan Puja. It's not the day when Indra devastated Govardhan, and it's certainly not the day which lasted 7 days. That starts tomorrow for 7 days. Then there's another day's break, and then Indra comes back to beg forgiveness. So altogether, we're talking of at least a 10-day festival here, although we don't usually celebrate it like that. The actual devastation is tomorrow, and the holding of the hill, the left hand. I'm not sure where this left little finger, this pinky, comes from. I've not found it in any Shastra. I've seen about 9 Shastras. They all say the left hand. I don't know where the pinky comes from. Is this a Hindu tradition or what is it? Every Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, Harivamsa, everywhere it says here also says left hand. Everywhere it says left hand. I've never seen any. There may be, but I just don't know where. Some will say, I've heard, but I haven't seen a reference to it. He lifts on the left hand and puts it on his little finger. I've heard that. But I've never seen a Shastric reference. If anyone has them, I'd be really happy to see it. Because all the pictures show the little finger, But every scripture I've read says left hand. I've never seen commentaries all say left hand as well. Krishna, Chakravarti, everyone's commentary says left hand. The only place I've seen it is in the Krishna book, but then in the Bhagavatam it says left hand. So that's commentary. That's a Shastra, no doubt, so we accept it, but it's not in any of the other literatures that it's taken from. So this particular verse, which I'll read the translation, is not in the chapter dealing directly with the festival of Govardhan Puja. It's a verse which we can say sets the scene. Of all the devotees, screen down, you can see it. I'll just read from the computer. Of all the devotees, can you see it?
Yes.
This Govardhan hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram, along with our calves, cows, and cowherd friends, with all kinds of necessities. Water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respects to the Lord. Being touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram, Govardhan hill appears very jubilant. And there's a purport by the disciples of Janananda Maharaj and others who compiled this purport, based upon, of course, comments by Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas. This translation is quoted from Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita, 1834. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the opulence of Govardhan Hill as follows. Paniya refers to the fragrant cool water from the Govardhan waterfalls, which Krishna and Balaram drink and use to wash their feet and mouths. Govardhan also offers other beverages such as honey, mango juice and pilu juice. Suyavasa indicates durva grass used to make the religious offerings of Arghya. Govardhan also has grass that is fragrant, soft and conducive to the strong growth of cows and increased production of milk. Thus this grass is used for feeding the transcendental herds. Gandhara refers to the caves where Krishna, Balaram and their friends play, sit and lie down. These caves give pleasure when the weather is too hot or too cold, or when it is raining. Govardhan also features soft roots for eating, jewels for ornamenting the body, flat places for sitting, and lamps and mirrors in the form of smooth stones, glistening water, and other natural substances. So that's the end of that particular purport, and you may want to remove this from the screen. It's going to be a bit complicated to endeavour. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we can do one more. I'll just cancel that and go on to one more. But so, just excuse me, I hope nothing unbecoming comes on the screen when I press this button. Let's see all my secrets on. It's just a database. I have to keep that one open, you tell me. And I'll close that one. And I have to keep that one open, you tell me. So I'm going to swing across to here. Okay? We've sung that already, so I'll swing forward. These are some prayers. If those who are doing Giriraj Puja may like to take note, these are some prayers. This is the Giriraj Pranam mantra. Namas, we can repeat together. Namaste Girirajaya.
Namaste Girirajaya.
Govardhana Namine.
Shri Govardhana Namine.
Ashesha Klesha Nashaya.
Ashesha Klesha Nashaya.
Paramananda Dayane.
Paramananda Dayane.
Namaste Girirajaya.
Namaste Girirajaya.
Govardhana Namine.
Shri Govardhana Namine.
Ashesha Klesha Nashaya.
Ashesha Klesha Nashaya.
Paramananda Dayane.
Paramananda Dayane.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the King of all hills, Govardhan Hill, the source of enjoyment for all the senses and the cows. Make it bigger. Let me take the English off. I can just about get it on. There we go. And the land. He is a servant of Krishna and is Krishna himself. Now, this is a very interesting point. And for some devotees, it's a point of controversy. I don't see it as one. But some devotees do, and they insist that we worship Krishna as Haridas Varya, as the servant of the Lord, in the mood of service. And some say, no, absolutely, he's Krishna himself. Well, he's both. He's both. He's Krishna taking that position of serving himself, you could say. He's the best. Who can do better than Krishna other than Radharani? So he's taken that position as one, and at the same time both are going on here. You see that in the pastime itself also. Aside from that, the Acharyas, Raghunath Das Goswami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, have explained we should worship him in the mood of Hari, the Supreme, not Haridas, but Hari himself. So many devotees do worship as Haridas Varya, that's their choice. If we're following Srila Prabhupada's instructions on the subject, then we worship him as Hari. And the Lord Chaitanya's instructions to Raghunath Das, which I won't read, but we have them here. So, instructing Raghunath to worship him as Krishna himself. He gave him the Gunjamala also, the puja. He puts an end to unlimited sufferings and bestows the supreme bliss. There you go. Seems to accomplish everything we could ever think of. Have we read earlier on? How is it possible to attain the personal service of Radha and Krishna if we don't worship Govardhan? Doesn't mean you have to start worshipping the Govardhan Shila, by the way. It's more than just that. And then we have two more verses which are known as the Sri Govardhan Pranam Mantra. Another Pranam mantra to Govardhan can also be used in one's worship. I didn't click on this one. Complicated world that we live in. But here we go. Put it up so you can see it even better. You can come across. Can you read it?
Yes.
Govardhana Jayate Shaila Kula Dirajo
Govardhana Jayate Shaila Kula Dirajo
Yogopika Birudito Haridasa Varya
Yogopika Birudito Haridasa Varya
Krishnena Sakramaka Banga Kritar Chitoya
Krishnena Sakramaka Banga Kritar Chitoya
Saptahamasya Karapadmatale Vivatsi
Saptahamasya Karapadmatale Vivatsi
Saptahamevachuta Hasta Pankaje
Saptahamevachuta Hasta Pankaje
Bringaya Manam Palamula Kandarai
Bringaya Manam Palamula Kandarai
Samsevyamanam Harim Atma Vindakair
Samsevyamanam Harim Atma Vindakair
Govardhani Dhrim Shirasa Namami
Govardhani Shirasa Namami.
Glorious is Sri Govardhan, the great king in the dynasty of hills, whom the gopis praise as the best of Krishna's servants, who was resting for 7 days in Krishna's lotus hand, and whom Krishna made worshipful by disrupting into a sacrifice. I offer my prostrated obeisances to the Govardhan hill, who was kept for 7 days in the lotus hand of the infallible Lord Sri Krishna, and who served him with his own paraphernalia, including swarms of black bees and an abundance of delicious fruits and roots. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that for now. And you can flip off if you want. Shall I just close it? I'll close it.
Yes.
That's it? It's off the screen?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. So just a little bit of a foundation to the subject of the day, which is usually the most famous pastime of Govardhan. Some people say Govardhan Lila, Govardhan Puja, whatever you want to call it. But this day of Govardhan Puja, we hear that those who, Prabhupada writes, those who don't honor Govardhan Puja have an interesting reaction. What do they get?
Beaten by a snake.
They get bitten or beaten?
Beaten or
Bitten.
I don't know.
Bitten. No. You never forget Danny Tai's not here at the moment. And all night long he was getting bitten by bed bugs. He said, beaten by bee bags. All night long I was beaten by bee bags. Beating in a bee bag. Bitten by bed bugs. Huh? Yeah, the word bitten and beaten are very interesting. Yes, bitten. Bitten by the snakes on Govardhan Hill. I've seen snakes. Not so much now, they've kind of modernized everything. In decades past when it was literally a jungle going around. You had to walk through jungle. If you want to go on the inner path, you go on the road. It was a jungle. Thorn bush jungle. You can see snakes on the footpaths and things. Quite interesting. Anyway, good idea not to get bitten by the snakes on Govardhan. And of course you could say they're residents of the Holy Dham. To be killed by a snake as a resident of the Holy Dham, maybe a quick quick return back to Godhead, maybe, I don't know. But it means a little bit more than that. You could say you get bitten by material desire. Which we're all being. We're already bitten enough. You know, how much more biting do we want? We're still kind of embracing the snake of material existence. So we're going to punch forward a little bit to another verse, and and technology, time, all things combined. We haven't got it on the PowerPoint, but I'll read it anyway. So let's see where we're at. This is from the chapter number 24, and it's called Worshipping Govardhan Hill. Now we're going to read the verse, then we're going to go backwards to describe the scene behind it. It's text number 13, and maybe someone wants to throw it on the screen if you're quick enough for those type of things. Text 13 of the 24th chapter, 10th canto, of course. I'll just read the Sanskrit in English. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kamana Jayate Jantu Karmanaiva Paliyate Sukham Dukham Bhayam Shemam Karmanaiva Vipadyate. Krishna speaking. He says it is by the force of karma. So this is Krishna speaking. So you can take this and quote this and justify whatever you like. It's spoken by Krishna, so it must be the absolute truth. It is by the force of karma that a living entity takes birth, and it is by karma alone that he meets his destruction. His happiness, distress, fear, and sense of security all arise as the effects of karma. Okay? There's nothing else involved at all. And that's the thrust of this particular section, is that Krishna has a big plan, a maha plan. And this is a central verse which sets the scene to establish Krishna's purpose. Everything Krishna does is all good. For a materialistic person, at least one who has a little bit of piety also, most people who don't, they don't believe in karma. They don't believe in an afterlife. This is not atheism exactly, it's karma mimamsa philosophy, which propounds that life is basically a continuous cycle of whatever it is that is transforming, or not so transforming, it's transferring from one life to another, spirit, whatever, continues, but it's completely within the realm of karma and dependent upon the realm of karma, and there's nothing other than karma. Everything depends on karma. Everything depends on your action. You have free will. You have free will to reciprocate with the karma. But there's nothing beyond it. It's not like there's an independent God or a purpose of life other than to try to, improve your karma. There's nothing more or less than that. It's got a tinge of modern science, modern philosophy, and it's based upon work is to be worshipped. Basically, work is God. Mm-hmm. Now, there are some religious groups who actually use this, and you've probably seen it. They actually preach that work is worship is work. Worship is work. Work and worship are the same thing. They can be, but there's not like with an explanation of what that means. In other words, you should work hard according to your nature, and that's all there is to it, and that's the sum and substance equal perfection of life. To work hard according to your nature, okay, if you're a Veda Rata, you may follow the Vedas and follow certain kinds of proper prescribed duties, which you choose to follow, which improves your karma. But there's nothing outside of that. If you're not pious, you just follow your karma, or less pious, or less, let's say, believing in religiosity. You just follow your karma. So Krishna's going to really put this philosophy. Bear in mind that every philosophy that exists has its roots in Krishna. Nothing is independent of Krishna. We think it is, and the Maya means when we see it independent of Krishna. Krishna consciousness, we see everything, even atheism, Buddhism, Hinduism, any ism or whatever it may be. To see it in relation with Krishna has its roots in Krishna. He gives the intelligence. Okay, if you want to look at a literal fact, he gives the intelligence or the guidance for that living entity who wants to believe who wants to see things in an impersonal way, or wants to see things in a meaningless way, or a completely atheistic way, or from a reductional point of view of a scientific, explanation. It all came from a God knows what made the bang happen, from a big bang or a hole in what? How can you have a hole if there's nothing to have a hole in? There has to be something there to have a hole in the first place, isn't it? You can't have a hole if there's no substance, can you? A hole in a hole, and what does that mean? There's got to be some substance to have a hole in the first place. Otherwise it's not a hole, is it? There's a hole in the other way, it's a hole, W-H, but it's not H-O-L-E. You can't have a H-O-L-E without something to have a hole in. As far as my understanding is, anyway. Perhaps you've got a different understanding. But you can say W-H-O-L, W-H-O-L-E, hole means everything. But not a hole. There has to be something to have a hole in. There has to be something to make something go bang, isn't it? So anyway, this type of philosophy is probably appealing to the gross materialists, because they don't think that, there's anyone to surrender to, you're in the center of everything, basically. Or know what it is, even. But, it's a popular word now, and we never used to use it at all, but it's become quite popular. It's almost like a justification for any damn thing that goes on in some people's minds. What can I do, Prabhu? It's my karma. It wasn't my fault, it's my karma. Sometimes people misuse, you could say, the partial understanding of karma. But anyway, Krishna's really going for it up to this point of time. You may know, previous chapter we see that Krishna had this wonderful pastime when, I can't remember the name of the village in Vraj, but it's not too far from the town of Vrindavan, where Krishna, when he was there with the cowherd boys, and they were very, Krishna wanted to perform a pastime. So, human-like form, appears to be hungry. They appeal, there's some Brahmins performing some pujas nearby. They request if they could please kindly satisfy their hunger. Brahmins refused. And then Krishna said the cowherd boys, go and ask the wives. The wives immediately fulfilled Krishna's desire. And then the whole pastime went. The Brahmins repent, they were so stupid. But, they still were attached to their karma kandya rules and regulations. It's like if you sat here, and, we're chanting your Gayatri or something, japa. Krishna walks in the room. Excuse me, I'm too busy chanting Gayatri. I've got to finish my rounds. You go on the altar. No, just be quiet, will you? I'm doing puja. And Krishna's there. Here. What do you do? So like that, Krishna, what's the purpose of the yagya by Vishnu? Then Krishna himself is there, and they say, no. To do our puja. You can't feed this. Who do you think he is? We're Brahmins. He's just a cowherd boy. Cowherd boy. You don't have business. This is, you could say, it's unfortunate bodily designation. But the wives had a different mood. So that night Krishna stayed in that village, actually, along with his cowherd boyfriend. It so happened that the next day that Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men of Vrindavan were planning to perform an Indra Yagya in that village. So along they came with their annual puja. I don't know, people still do Indra Yagya in India much? Is it very popular?
When it doesn't rain.
Only when it doesn't rain. If it rains, they don't do it. I remember I was on Harinam one time about 30 years ago in a town called Huntley in New Zealand. Small town, really small. And we're doing kirtan. And honestly, I don't think I can remember such a downpour of rain in New Zealand quite like that. It was really a monsoon. It was belting down with rain. Belting down. You couldn't move. We were just sheltered under There was like one shop with a shelter, and there's literally no one on the street. It was like a flood on the street. It was like a river going through the street. And there's one other guy in the shop, he said, you should sing a song for sun, not rain. He was criticizing us that we're chanting Hare Krishna and it's bringing on the rain. Maybe it did, I don't know. So, as you say, when people want rain, they sometimes do Indra Puja or something. And Prabhupada said in Hyderabad, when there was a great drought in Hyderabad, that we would do Harinam Sankirtan. We went through the stranded village, go through the streets and perform big kirtan and try to get everyone to chant. Sure enough, it did. Maybe the next day it started raining after a long period of time. But we don't chant Hare Krishna for that, do we? Maybe we do, I don't know. Maybe for food or rain or money. I don't know. What do you chant for? What do you chant for?
So far I'm trying to serve Krishna. Asking Krishna for service.
You're asking him for service. Well, he's definitely rewarding you. At least you're taking it as such. I'm not sure if everyone thinks the same way. Dangerous thing to do to chant Hare Krishna, isn't it? You might be engaged in service. My God, that's not what I'm chanting it for. I'm chanting Hare Krishna to avoid service. Right? Chant 64 rounds so we don't have any service to do. I'm chanting 192 rounds now, Prabhu, so I've got no time. Don't ask me, please, don't disturb me. Well, you could say that's chanting, but service is also, chanting is also service, but service is defined by the attitude, not by the activity. Is it a service attitude, or is it selfish attitude? Words are quite close, service and selfish. Is it selfish? Are we just doing what we want? Service means what Krishna wants, not what we want. In its deepest sense. So, like that. So anyway, they were about to perform this great Indra Yoga, quite an annual fair. And Krishna, one of the reasons, there are many reasons why Krishna performs, or why this performs his pastime. Many reasons. One of them is to protect his human-like nature. He appears in a human form for various reasons, to reciprocate various loving rasa with devotees who don't see him as God. They see him as their innocent child in this case, or maybe as a lover or a friend. Yes. To protect that human-like aspect without the reverential godliness manifesting. Although he's God, he plays like a human child. This is one of his many greatest opulences, you could say. And it also keeps the atheists, they think he's just an ordinary kid, and they don't take him seriously. So both sides, but primarily to protect or to satisfy his devotees. He maintains his human-like mood. He didn't go, I'm God, do what I say, or I'll curse you. You'll be condemned to hell if you don't do what I say. It's not a very sweet pastime, is it? Some religions kind of have primarily that as their incentive, isn't it? Their leverage. Surrender or burn. Here it is. So Krishna maintains his child, very innocently addresses his father. Dear father, please explain to me what's happening here. His father was, how will a little boy, whatever he was, 5, 7 years old, how will he understand this? Pastime. When you're a little kid, sometimes you ask, Mummy, what is this? And Mummy doesn't tell you exactly what it is. She gives some kind of roundabout story. I don't know what they do in India, but in the West, that's what they used to do. Not the exact thing, because you can't probably understand. Mummy, where do babies come from? How will a young child understand that very complicated issue beyond their experience, you could say. So, a little like that, but Krishna insisted and said secrets shouldn't be kept amongst those who are, family members and friends, even amongst neutrals. Otherwise, it's like just find that person like an enemy, you could say, practically. Keep secrets from enemies. So anyway, eventually Nanda Maharaj began to explain to Krishna. Krishna was very curious to find out. So what it does, this is the prelude to another purpose which Krishna has in this pastime. I'll just read. We didn't read the purport. Did we read the purport yet or not? I'll just read the purport to the previous verse. I'll read the verse number 12, which will lead on to 13. Shukadeva Goswami said, when Lord Kesava Krishna heard the statements of his father Nanda and other senior residents of Raj, he addressed his father as follows to arouse anger in him. He wanted to get Indra angry. Now, I don't know if some of you are married. I'm not suggesting you should do this. I'm not talking about getting married. I'm talking about the behavior within married life. Getting married, you may do that. Okay. But within married life, sometimes to tease the wife, the husband does something to get her angry. He likes to see his wife angry sometimes. I don't know. This is not to be imitated, by the way. Because sometimes this goes on. Maybe misunderstood completely. But in close relationships, sometimes you do. It's a kind of, you joke, you joke. Even amongst friends sometimes, you joke like this, isn't it? Like lovers, sometimes parents with their kids. This kind of very intimacy, anger has its part in loving exchange. It's not just a negative factor. It has its part, it's one of the rasas. It's like a spice in the prasadam. If there's no salt in the sabji, it's not the same, is it? You've got to put some salt in there, it brings the taste out. So sometimes these little indirect rasas are very favorable, compatible to the overall position. So in this case it's not exactly favorable, but it's favorable to the pastime. So it is favorable. It's not favorable to Indra, ultimately. But it's favorable to the pastime. Krishna was very much looking forward to this pastime. He didn't now think, well, now is the time. Now he's always looking forward. He loves this pastime. It's one of his favorite pastimes. So he's looking forward to the time when this pastime was manifest. So now is the time. So part of that is to arouse, just like he arouses anger sometimes in the boys to have a good fight, or to have an argument, or whatever it may be. And these up to all these flavors are there in Krishna. So he's arousing in purpose. Indra is his servant, although he's Sakama Bhakti, he's a materialistic servant. But nonetheless, he's a servant doing some job in the universe on behalf of God and Krishna. So then in the purport, Sridhar Swami says that Lord Krishna's intention was not simply to insult a demigod. Sometimes we purposely insult somebody, that we say something which that's all it is. We just don't like him. But rather to knock down the great mountain of false pride that had arisen within the Lord's tiny servant, who was supposed to represent the Lord as Indra. So when pride is there, if we're lucky, Krishna will knock it down. And then we blame somebody else around us for doing it. We always look for an excuse, not understanding Krishna's hand working through others to knock down our pride. And as it says here, mountain of false pride. Where we see, I think it's in the third canto, I think it's all Kapila Deva, he describes how you should meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, which just like those lotus feet they took on, when the Ganga entered into this universe, from the lotus feet of the Lord. And Lord Shiva, of course, took that water upon his head. And that water which has touched the lotus feet of the Lord is most purifying. Why? Because it's touched the lotus feet of the Lord. Meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord is just like the thunderbolt of Indra, which smashes to shreds a mountain of sin. And in our hearts are like a mountain of sin. By meditating upon Krishna, it helps to smash that mountain of sin on his lotus feet. So like that, Lord Indra here is full of pride. So Krishna wants to smash his pride. through this pastime, and it can smash the pride. One of the effects of hearing these pastimes, especially in this particular case, hearing this pastime and engaging in this pastime with all of our hearts helps to reduce that pride within our heart. To discuss pride as a subject in itself, which we won't go further on. So that's another reason that Krishna performs this pastime, to smash the pride of Indra, to satisfy pleasure of all his devotees, everybody with, so that he can maintain this intimate relationship with loving exchanges with his devotees, which of course took place for 7 days in this case, fulfilling another aspect of their desires. You know, when the cowboys go to the forest, the gopis are in total devastation and separation. And when Krishna comes back from playing pasturing grounds, the cowboys are in desperate devastation and separation. And, you know, at night, you know, like this, the mother Yasoda and during the day also is devastated by separation. So during this pastime, all the residents of Vrindavan had their glorious opportunity to actually, at least to see Krishna constantly for 7 days. Their eyes, you know, he was never out of their direct vision 7 days and nights. 7 days and nights. They all had that, you know, fulfillment of their desire. There's another aspect to fulfill the desires of the devotees. And many, 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 many reasons why Krishna performs this pastime. I've got a list of, I think, 15, 20 reasons I picked out why this pastime is so significant. From our point of view, it's so significant because now we can honor that pastime. If it never took place, how could you honor it? And then if we can't honor it, what chance do we have of remembering Krishna or serving Radha Krishna? These pastimes are there so that we can remember them, and not just, from our perspective, they're there because they're eternal loving exchanges, but they're also there for our memory, for our meditation, for our performance of these serving these pastimes, because that's what purifies us. That's how our heart becomes purified. Glorification of Govardhan Hill, glorification of the cows, glorification of the brahmanas, many, many reasons. Fulfillment of the words of Gargaracharya, so many other reasons. Satisfying Lord Balaram. Krishna's always thinking how to please Balaram. Balaram was very upset. When they heard that Indra was performing, Nanda Maharaj and the caravan were performing this yoga to Indra to try to get rain. It was an annual event, it was traditional, it was part of their family. And we're not going to stop this. We've been generations, we've been doing this. Balaram was very angry. Krishna wasn't angry. No, he doesn't care. He doesn't mind, he wants to do a bit of demigod worship over, but Balaram was furious. And Krishna knew that Balaram was furious, and therefore he wanted to stop this yoga. Why was Balaram furious? Why was he furious?
Worshipping Indra and not Krishna.
Yeah, because how dare they worship a paltry demigod when Krishna is right here? He didn't want them, everything with Balaram, everything was for Krishna. Nothing else. Everything was for Krishna. What is this? They're offering to Indra? He was very angry that they're worshipping demigods. You should be worshipping Krishna. Come on, what is this? Of course, it's a pastime and inspired by Krishna, you could say. Krishna wanted to show also that his devotees shouldn't be doing these things. They're pure devotees. They're eternal associates. They're not just sadhakas. We're not even sadhakas practically. We're just maybe objects of mercy. But we're hardly performing sadhana. And sadhana is like so wonderful. I don't know what it is. Everyone's different. Whatever it is, you know. But, these are eternal associates of the Lord, and here they are, performing an Indra Puja. What type of example is this? Okay, you can show example for the common people, but Krishna had a higher purpose here, one is pure devoted, depending on depending on Indra, puffing him up. And he gets proud. Yes, I am the provider. Isn't it? We all have that, don't we? Yeah, somebody comes to us, please help me. You feel so important. I'm providing. This mentality. So he wanted to smash this and not keep the resonance in this idea as anything but Krishna. Krishna is everything. Many reasons. There are other reasons too. You can probably think of a few more. In the purport, we finished the purport? No. Knock down the great mountain of pride. By lifting Govardhan hill, Lord Krishna will thus initiate a blissful annual festival called Govardhan Puja, and we further enjoy the pleasant pastime of dwelling for several days beneath the hill with all of his loving devotees. A few reasons we already mentioned briefly. Lord Krishna, we read the next verse. Did we read it? Did we read the purport to the next verse?
Just the verse we read.
Purport to number 13. Lord Krishna minimized the importance of the demigods by speaking the philosophy of karma mimamsa, which basically is atheism with a belief in reincarnation. According to this philosophy, there are subtle laws of nature that reward or punish us according to how we act. As you sow, so shall reap. That's the scientific law, cause and effect. In a future life, one reaps the fruit of his present work, and this is the sum and substance of reality. Lord Krishna, being God himself, could hardly be a serious proponent of this mediocre philosophy. In the role of a young boy, he was simply teasing his pure devotees by preaching it. The other role is to convince them also to do what he wanted them to do, There's a teasing side, and there's also a purposeful side to it all. It's like Prabhupada would sometimes, with his disciples, he would propose an atheistic philosophy. He would defeat, his own normal teachings. He would start preaching Mayavad or Maya atheism or something, and one of his disciples to defeat him. But, generally they couldn't defeat him. It was like, Krishna, if he wants, he can defeat any Vaishnava with his. It's like Lord Chaitanya sometimes, he would say, what was it, Marari Gupta? Marari Gupta. He would tease him like anything, talking, some other philosophy besides Jnana, he preached Jnana, some other philosophy. And nobody could defeat him, According to this philosophy, there are subtle laws. Srila Jiva Goswami points out that Lord Krishna was thinking, why are these eternal associates of mine appearing as my father and other relatives and friends so caught up in the worship of Indra? Thus, although the Lord's main purpose was to take away the false pride of Indra, he also wanted to remind his eternal devotees they need not divert their attention to their so-called gods, since in fact his devotees were already living with the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Almighty Lord himself. And he goes on, describing this whole, you could say, philosophy of karma mimamsa, convincing them that work, everything depends on our work. What does God have to do with it? What do the demigods have to do with it? They're simply like, they just reward you according to your work. If you do good work, they give you a good reaction. If you do bad work, you get a bad reaction. Simple as that. What have they got to do with it? They're also under karma. And he quotes, there's a very, I don't know if I can find it. Note here somewhere. It's not on the screen, is it?
No.
Okay. I'll read it. Some of you know this verse. I was thinking of reading this. It's a verse in the Brahma Samhita. Yas Trindra Gopamatavendra Mahosva Karma Bandana Rupa Palabhajana Mattanoti Karmani Nirda Hatikintu Chabhakti Bhajam. All together. Govindamani Purusham Maham Bhajami. If you know the last verse. You know 1/4 of the Brahma Samhita. That's that this chapter. Anyway. Do you know the Brahma Samhita? Almost 1/4, not quite. Chapter 5 at least. I know pretty much 1/4 of it. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami is about 30 or 40 verses where that's the last line. So I know almost 1/4 of what we call the This is only a small portion of the Brahma Samhita, but we don't have it yet. So, yeah. So this verse means, I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who burns up to their roots all fruitive activities of those who are imbued with devotion and impartially ordains for each the due enjoyment of the fruits of one's activities of all those who walk in the path of work in accordance with the chain of their previously performed works, no less in the case of the tiny insect that bears the name of Indragopa than in that of Indra, the king of the Devas. So for those who are on the path of work, that's what's going on. It's just a mechanical process. Action and reaction. Cause and effect. Material cause and effect. Without God consciousness, this philosophy seems to be, completely acceptable. There's nothing but the material world has existed, and there's nothing in it or nothing out of it. It's just always been there, and it's always just a matter of karma, and everything's just a part of whatever it is. What cause it is irrelevant. It's always been there, has no cause. It is what it is. It's constantly transforming according to the work of the conscious energy in this universe. Things are just going around and round and round in circles. So interesting verse, and almost justifying to, without, of course it doesn't really, because it takes Krishna's independence out of the picture, but this kind of Mimamsa philosophy takes Krishna's position out of the picture and his total independence out of the picture. And the real independence of living entity is not just to choose within the realm or the rank of the modes of nature how to reciprocate with them, but that the real free will of the living entity is the choice to get out of it, not just to work with anything. If a materialistic person, they don't see that side of life. It's not there. They don't even see it when it's presented before them. They see God as an order supplier or doesn't exist at all. A little bit more spiritually advanced as the all-pervasive Brahman behind it all. But they have, most cases, no real understanding of the actual personality of God. Their idea of Ishvara is usually the mentality of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is the creator of the universe, that most of their parents are not left to go to heavenly planets, the higher planets of the universe, mostly, to protect them from going to hell. So, so it goes on like that, up to the point where eventually Nanda Maharaj and Acharya are convinced, okay, we'll perform. Krishna's explaining actually work is the real business. And when we look at it, Govardhan Hill is providing all the, we are Vaishyas, Govardhan Hill is providing all the nourishing grass, the waterfalls, the jewels, the playground for our community. So we should worship Govardhan Hill and worship the cows with it sustaining us. We should worship the cows in Govardhan Hill. Because this is our work, this is they're providing everything for us. And so what has Indra really got to do with it? So the father says, okay, we'll do this puja for you. We will do this as you ask us. But first we will do the Indra Yajna. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, if we don't do the Indra Yajna, what will happen? Isn't it? All hell will be unleashed. He was thinking, no, Daddy, that won't work. We haven't got time. Besides, the worship of Govardhan is going to take tremendous amount of ingredients and so on. The ingredients which you have here must be used right now for worshiping Govardhan. Oh. And then Krishna, he was somehow or other convinced to utilize all of the various paraphernalia which was been arranged for worshiping Indra, all the foodstuffs, all the paraphernalia, everything for the worship of Govardhan. The worship of Indra should be used for the worship of Govardhan. So how should we do this? Nanda Maharaj is asking Krishna, then Krishna explains exactly how they should do it. Bring the Brahmins, all the best Brahmins. Please come in, you're welcome to come in if you want to sit down. Take puja. If you want a chair, bring a chair. So they performed, he was explaining how to perform this, offering, bring all the Brahmins, perform yagyas to Govardhan and so on. And lots of food stuff should be brought. All the cows should be fed with the best fresh grass. You should also feed the dogs, the dog eaters. Everyone should be thoroughly fed like this, and everything should be offered to Govardhan. And then everyone should come and decorate yourself very nicely. Everyone, all of us, cows, everyone. Circumambulate Govardhan Hill, like this. He's explaining everything, and invite everyone to this puja. And sure enough, they agreed to this. So Brahmins came, the best of the Brahmins, performing all the yagas. Everything was going on nicely. And then they circumambulated Govardhan Hill. We'll do that this afternoon at 2 o'clock, is that right? Circumambulating Govardhan at 2 according to the schedule.
Yes.
And so then we're going to sing a song while we circumambulate Govardhan Hill. This is a song from Gopal Champu, which Jiva Goswami has given us when we circumambulate Govardhan Hill. Giri Pujayam, Hitakena, Giri Pujayam, Hitakena. That's the chorus, and it's about 9 or 10 verses. If we were doing it in the temple here, it would be good. We could have it on PowerPoint. We could have pictures of accompanying all the pastimes, everything. The whole PowerPoint on this one. One of my favorites. I don't think we can do that in the tent. But we can maybe give people sheets with a song or something. Much we can do. It's real fun. For entering into these pastimes. And then of course there was mountains, a prasadam offered to Govardhan. Mountains. So in the afternoon we'll take the story to its next level. Just briefly setting the scene here for what we'll say is the more exciting part of the pastime from a mundane point of view, isn't it? Most people are really relish the kind of like the effects of this pastime. The pastime itself is unlimitedly, but there are many effects which are also quite interesting, to say the least, and very informative. So they performed the puja, they circumambulated, and the Lord, and then suddenly Govardhan, of course, the hill assumed a massive form of Giriraj, the form of God himself, of Bhagavan, on top of the hill. There's Krishna, Hari, on top of the hill. And Krishna himself bowed down to that form. Of course, everyone bowed down, worshipped that form of the Lord. This is where the Haridas Varya comes in. And Krishna, Giriraj being the hill himself, being God and Krishna himself, Krishna himself. But he's also worshipping the hill. So both things are going on. He's also serving all of Krishna's intentions, as we've heard already, providing all the necessities for Krishna's pastime, as well as acting as an umbrella for 7 days to fulfill Krishna's desire and protect everyone from the wrath of Indra. So from every angle, Govardhan is everything. Amazing pastime. And of course, so vast quantities of foodstuffs were brought for the pleasure of of Lord Hari, of Giriraj himself. Vast quantities, lakes of dal, lakes of sweet rice, mountains of chapatis, mountains of rice, enormous, unending vats of vegetables, and all kinds of chutneys and pickles, and mountains of sweets, and everything you can think of. Every sweet taste, creams, lakes of cream and yogurt. Today we're going to see this literally here in South. Is that right? The cake is still there. I saw you already made the cake out there in front of the front building. Is that the cake out there?
Still in process.
Huh?
Still in process. Still in process.
Well, no, there's a cake right in front of the front door there. It's about 5 foot by 5 foot. That's just a starter. That's just one of the cakes. Early one. There are at least 1,000 other cakes on their way. Is that right, Balasinda? You're making 20 of them, I thought. There's going to be how many thousands of preparations today? How many? 100,000? Sometimes you see pictures of Anukut, where the ceremony takes place on Govardhan. Vidisbastan took place. The Lord manifests himself on top of the hill as non-different from Krishna, not different from the hill. And there they offered a massive, and Radhanath Maharaj may be there now, I don't know. I think he's there right now. I don't know if they still do it, but the years gone by when they've done this, there's like 100 meters in every direction covered in offerings. Because they have like 500 chowkidars guarding it from the monkeys. Maybe a bunch of langurs there. The langur monkeys to keep the other monkeys away. They're scared when they see these langur monkeys. Got very long tails. Hanam descendants. Keep them away. But huge quantities of offerings. We can just imagine. They offered soup. Interesting word in English, soup. You've heard soup? Soup. What is soup in English? Preparation, soup. Prabhu, can you make me some soup? What is it? What do you mean when you say soup? You have soup in France also. Very famous for soup. What is soup?
Like a liquid vegetable.
Liquid vegetables, yes. Sometimes blended, sometimes not. Normally it would be blended, and to make it really tasty, it's blended. Liquid soup, liquid vegetables. It's a Sanskrit word. It's right there in the verse. You've got an English verse. One of these verses. Soup is mentioned. S-U-P. It means liquid vegetables.
Oh, yes, super.
Literally means liquid vegetables. It's a Sanskrit word. Come down from Sanskrit. That was offered to Giriraj. Soup. Offered to Giriraj. You can offer different types of soups. It's not just a Western concoction. It's a Vedic term. Offered to Giriraj. Liquid vegetables. There you go. I'll give you another clue. Another 100 preparations you can make. You can make another 100 types of soup. Every type you can think of. Anyway, do what you can. Make as many preps as you can to offer the Giriraj. And of course, Giriraj was just many arms just whipping them all in there. No one could provide enough. All the villages around were bringing everything at their disposal to offer to Giriraj. It was all being consumed. No one could stop it. They seemed to have unending appetite. Well, he does. But eventually the story goes, of course, Lord Balaram came, bought the Tossi. Don't use that as an excuse. Well, we just offer him a Tulsi leaf, then he'll be happy. We don't need to do all these other things. That's not the idea. He was satisfied with all of that service. Then he said, then that's the, more or less, I mean, there's many other factors involved here we could say. Let's see if I've got any specific ones which we could share. Oh, here's a nice statement. Commentaries. Unless people are well fed, it is difficult for them to execute their duties. So those who are managers, please bear this in mind. And without performance of duty, it's very difficult to be religious. So people in general have to be fed. Prabhupada will make that one of the reasons he got Food for Life program. People should be fed. You can't take up Krishna consciousness with a hungry belly. Krishna's arguments are further explained, but we haven't got time to go into that. Yeah, there's a touch of Sankhya philosophy there, of course, in terms of the modes of nature cause the effects of this world. passion causes the rain. In other words, it's just the modes of nature. In this world, nothing else is there. It's just an illusion. It's just the modes of nature. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Govardhan Chaya. Okay, I guess we're finished there. For now, we'll carry on with the pastime at noon. Maybe a few points which may be interesting to add to this morning's subject. If they come to mind, we put them into. And we'll discuss a few more of the reasons for this pastime. Is that okay? Govardhan Puja ki jai. Shri Raj Maharaj ki jai. Gaura Premanande.
His Holiness Janananda, Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Shri Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. That came from the library.